board for information. Item 11A, substantive change action letter from ACCJC.
This is more to the board for your information that this didn't get approved by ACCJC. Dr. Ellison, Dr. Nancy Goals, and several others were involved. 6 programs that are now more than 50% offered through distance education. The list is there: administration of justice, biotechnology industry, economics, sociology, geography, and social media. I'd like to invite Dr. Ellison if you want to add anything about this process for the board. Welcome.
Well, this is part of the ACCJC review process for items that they deem substantive change items. And so when programs become eligible to be offered at 50% or more online, then that's deemed a substantive change by the commission, and consequently a substantive change report is needed. And that's precisely what we did. That report was crafted and submitted back in March, and as you can see now in May, we received our letter from the commission indicating that our 6 programs were approved. So this is good news for the public.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Okay. That's just information only. So item 11B, quarterly financial status report 2016-2017 fiscal year, and quarter ended March 31st, 2017. I'm assuming this is Joe.
Try to make this larger to make it a little more visible. But this is our third quarter financial status report that we were required to submit to the Chancellor's office. And just wanted to highlight a couple of areas of the report. So looking, if you go back to the actual 15-16 column, and right there where the cursor is sitting next to that 5,865,364. Well, let me back up. I apologize. This report includes the entire unrestricted general fund. So earlier I mentioned the tentative budget only included our operating fund, Fund 110. This report includes the operating fund as well as the board designated fund. And so the numbers that you see here will not necessarily tie back to what was reflected in the tentative budget. So just wanted to make that clear as well. But the 5.8 million was net income last year in 15-16, and the primary reason for that was the one-time funding that we received from the state. So we received it last year, did not spend much of it because of the prioritization process that we were going through to allocate those funds. So those funds carried over into the current year, 16-17. And then if you look to the right of that number, you see the negative 4.4 million. And so all that really illustrates is those funds were received last year, weren't spent, but then they were the majority of those funds are being spent this fiscal year. So I just didn't want you to be alarmed in seeing that red negative $4 million. And so what that does is, based on our beginning fund balance of $10,462,841, it brings that fund balance down to 5.9 million, or 9.1%. And I believe you do have in front of you the breakdown between those two funds, between Fund 110 and 112.
That's this document that was passed out to you.
And that just simply illustrates the breakdown of those two funds, and the total of which is included on this report. Going down to the next section, we have to report what we believe our FTES will be at the end of the year. And for 16-17, we're projecting FTES of 9,550. We also have to report on our cash balance. And this is the only section of the report that includes not only the unrestricted general fund, but also includes our restricted funds, all of our categorical and grant funds. And we're reporting over $13 million that were on hand in the form of cash as of March 31st. And that was relatively close to where we were when we reported last fiscal year as well. And that right there is one of the main reasons that we're not having to participate in the trans program that you mentioned, Trustee Gutierrez. This section here really just looks at where we are year to date compared to where we're projecting to end. And so looking at our total revenue, we're at about 72, we've received about 73% of the revenue we think we're going to receive at the end of the year. And by the same token, we've spent about 70% of our projected year-end budget. And so those are both slightly less than the percentage of the year that's passed. And we also reported that we didn't settle any employee contracts during this quarter. And we were happy to report that we didn't have any significant fiscal issues that we felt the need to report as well. And so unless there are any questions, that concludes the report.
All right. Thank you very much. Any questions from the board? All right, thank you, Joe. Next item, item C, is the first reading of the board policies and administrative procedures. Okay.
As you see, there's several board policies that you're reviewing for the first time, as well as administrative procedures. Of particular note is AP 2431, and that's the CEO selection. I would like to say I hope we don't do that for a long time, but this was something that Academic Senate had requested that College Council review. And as promised, it's something that we've taken a look at. I think we have proposed language that makes everyone feel better about that process. And so that being said, though, I've made it clear to College Council that even though this is an administrative procedure, this is really your administrative procedure. So I encourage you to take a really close look at that before the next board meeting. And while you typically don't approve administrative procedures, they typically come to you as information items. This is one that you should approve and make sure that you're okay with the language and the selection. But I can assure you that it was a very thorough discussion. I want to thank Julie Clark and Academic Senate and others that not only had their best interest in mind, but were open to recommendations from all the constituencies around campus, and we've added some safeguards as a part of that process. So,
all right, thank you.
And so, President Vitale, I understand your recommendation that we should approve this. Is this properly before the board now for action?
No, this is just for information. You'll take action at the next board meeting, so you have another month to review it. I just wanted to bring it to your attention because this truly is yours, and no one on College Council, in Academic Senate, from administration, no one expects that you cannot make changes to this. Yes, it went through the shared governance process, but we also recognize this is your hire, so this is a process that you should fully agree to.
So you mentioned make changes. Would that be at the second reading when we talk about it, or is that prior to the meeting?
Yeah, this is an administrative procedure, so it really can be as simple as open dialogue and you verbalizing what changes you would like to see put into place and then approving it at the next meeting. It doesn't have to go through several readings because it's your administrative procedure. So if you make changes at the next meeting, you approve those and we move forward.
Okay, so it'll come up as a second reading and we can open dialogue there, we don't need a special.
And so the language is read as what was developed and proposed. At the second reading, is it going to look the same way where it's a marked up copy?
It will be. It'll be this exact same copy that's reposted. So,
And we could at that point add to it or take a recommendation as is.
yeah, and if helpful, I can highlight, it would take me 30 seconds to at least highlight what the big picture pieces were you could look at the next month if you want me to now.
That would be good.
Okay, so really what the what College Council wanted to address is the idea that if for some reason a committee member had to be removed, that there's some safeguards in place that would allow for the replacement of committee members as a part of the process. And so, in a nutshell, what you see is one, a longer vetting period to make sure there's no conflicts of interest, but then also the addition of alternates as a part of the process, sort of like on a jury. And they're a part of the process until the interviews begin. Once interviews begin, no alternates can be added. So because that's when it would become unfair to the candidates as a part of that process, but alternates would be involved until that process. And so really that's what the language focused on. And then it also added some language about adding additional members to any of the above defined constituency groups and not just adding from one constituency group if possible. Diversifying that among all the constituency groups to the extent possible if we needed to add members to the committee based on the need for diversity. But those are really the big picture changes. I don't think it changes the intent of the process at all.
Okay. So we will take a look at this at the next meeting for our second reading. All right, moving on to item 12, reports. We will start from the right and go on to my left. So we'll start with Trustee Villarreal.
Thank you, Joe. Well, this last, I was able to attend a couple of the nurses programs ceremonies on which I enjoyed. Unfortunately, I had scheduling conflicts. I didn't make our graduation this year, and I apologize for that. Looking forward to a good summer, and I'm glad to see the college for kids are up and going this week. So it's always fun. Thank you.
Trustee Ramirez.
So good evening, everybody. I had a very exciting month. This was my first time that I got to participate in college graduation as a trustee. And it was really special, and I know that things like that don't happen on their own. Everything from the lawns being, trimmed and looking sharp, to the chairs, to the coordinating of staff, to, staff members that were there and people that got students up to that graduation line. It was a very impressive group of students, and I have always been proud of my association with Merced College as a graduate and now as a trustee. So I did get an opportunity to attend other events leading up to graduation where we're celebrating students, and those were all very special, but graduation was just outstanding. So to everybody who had a hand in making that happen, from students to staff to classified, is just outstanding. So thank you for the great showing, and just reaffirms how great it is to be part of Merced College. So thank you.
Thank you, Carmen. Trustee Jordan.
Yes, it's been a busy time for all of us. I enjoyed everything that I was able to participate in. Trustee Ramirez and I got to sit in when they were evaluating the child development program and working toward affirming what they need to do to continue with the grant. It was very enlightening, and we were both able to participate, and that was exciting. I attended the chorale under our new director. It was a fine program. One of the exciting things was to be able to be the board member presenting Bob Pollitt being named for our aquatic center. It was a very special day, and he was very moved by what we did. And that goes back to something that Trustee Ramirez was saying. I don't know that we're going to get any money from him, but he certainly was very deserving of the honor that was bestowed upon him. And he wanted me to thank the board again for approving that would be done. Also, I attended the RN graduation, and that is always impressive. I enjoy it every time. We do such fine work here at Merced College in that area, and I'm so proud to be able to brag about it wherever I go. Also, graduation was wonderful, as usual, and so it was a busy time, and so I was happy to be part of it. And then following graduation, I got to go to Canada for a week, to Calgary, and there was no stampede, but I would like to go sometime when they are stampeding. Thank you, President.
Thank you, Trustee Jordan. And I will go next, and then we'll continue forward. No, I won't go next. Our motto is, our students are focused, and you couldn't be prouder at the graduation when you see that. And everybody was focused on our students, and it was an awesome ceremony. Just seeing all of the faculty, the staff, the students, everybody pulls together, and that's why we're here. Almost as exciting an event was the American Award ceremony in Lasagna, so we were there too. And we didn't have 1,000 students on the floor, but we had pretty close. We had 100+ students that graduated from that. And Trustee Ochoa joined us for that evening as well. So always get energized when you're around the students and when you see those when you're at those events. I wish I could attend more of the other graduations on the main campus, but sometimes it's very difficult to get here to all the events. But very honored and humbled to be able to stand out there and then do the what do you call what I did? The conferring the degrees. That was pretty special. I never spoke before thousands of people, so it was kind of intimidating, but it was very rewarding, and it felt really good. Just want to wish everybody a good summer vacation, and those of you that have a vacation, and those of us that don't, will have a good summer. Trustee Lashbrook.
Climate change kind of changed my plans, so this is the second time I have a big graduation. The first time my son was graduating from San Jose State. So I will make sure I organize next year. We just, in the middle of harvest, have a festival. I can have my act together enough to break away the night before the festival started, so I will not let that happen again. I did go to the awards and actually presented at the Foundation's awards event in the theater, and that was wonderful. Been there a few times. Other small events, and this is the culmination. Oh, and I so wanted to listen to the student speaker. Was she great? Okay. I'm going to listen to the tape of that, and she's coming to my farm Saturday, so I'll make her do a good read. But anyway, I'm thrilled to be here. I'm seeing so many programs that are becoming even stronger and more relevant, it seems like, to students. But I also am hearing students still having struggles finding jobs. So we need to make sure we've got that link. I mean, I'm sure we're working on it, but there's, just whatever kind of link we can do to to help with that even more, I think would be good. Congratulations to everybody that got through this, I think it's, including faculty and staff, management and all that, so I think we're doing a good job here, it's very worthwhile.
Thank you, Trustee Lashton. Trustee Ochoa?
Good evening, everybody. First of all, I'd like to welcome our new student trustee, Mariah Gill, to the board. Congratulations on your appointment. And also want to publicly thank Ms. Angela Toss for her dedication here at Merced College. I know that she's making a change, and I'd like to thank her for all her time here. And I know with Mr. Raul Alcala, we'll be in good hands with him as well. A lot of good things happening in the Los Baños campus. I also, like Trustee Gutierrez said, attended the award ceremony there. So congratulations to the dean there. You're doing a lot of good things, and I was very impressed with all the kids and all the scholarships that were awarded that night. And I also attended the Looking Forward forum that our President Vitale put on, which was very, very informative. What a great way to set the stage for the next year. So I highly recommend to all the other trustees to look forward to that in the next coming year. And I also attended the CSEA barbecue, and that was a lot of fun. I helped serve that day, and even got a little bit of potato salad in Stacy's hair that day. But I enjoyed meeting everybody there. Everybody was in good spirits, so that was a very good event. And the graduation ceremony was definitely amazing. That was my first experience at a graduation here, and I shook over 200 hands and witnessed over 400 smiles. So it too made me very proud to be part of our college and this district. So I look forward to next year's graduation. And I'm also proud to say that my son is officially a student here at Merced College. He's taking an online course over the summer, and then he'll be attending UC Davis. So, thanks again.
Thank you, Trustee Ochoa. And Trustee Upton?
I want to second what Trustee Ramirez said.
Is your mic on?
I really enjoyed.
Your microphone?
I really enjoyed the graduation, and it's always been a special time of the year. And again, this year it was that. Also enjoyed the ag dinner and seeing all the agricultural students. My heart kind of is in that department, and I like doing that. Welcome, Mariah, and we look forward to having you here. I'd like to say one other thing. I've always felt so good about the graduation, but listening to our teacher talk, or our faculty member talk about the prison and the people in the prison, just really warmed my heart. I know many times they're in for many, many years, but I'd like to follow through with some of those people, and the first one that actually graduates from Merced College, we ought to know about that and bring that up. Or those that are able to get jobs after they get out of prison because of Merced College. I think that's really important, and I'm really happy that it's going to the women's prison also. Thank you.
Thank you, Gina. That's a really good point. I agree with you. And Student Trustee Mariah, you get your turn to speak your mind. Yes.
Well, thank you all for your warm welcome. I'm really excited and honored to represent the students. That passion being said, is what led me to run for the trustee position. I have been a member of ASMC. I feel as though ASMC may have failed the students in the past. We have weaknesses just like every other body, and I'm really actually looking forward to this upcoming cabinet. They're very ambitious, and we hope to provide students with the academic environment that they truly deserve here. Since the election, ASMC itself, I would say we've hit the ground running. We're working to build a sustainable foundation within ASMC so that we can represent students to the best of our abilities. And one of those ways is through rigorous vetting of our Constitution and bylaws. We need a really solid foundation moving forward from here if we hope to accomplish our goals. We're also revisiting our sustainability challenge, which was posed to and accepted by the board in May of 2015, and we plan to make concrete steps towards completing that challenge. This past spring semester, many students gathered together and identified barriers to their education, so we plan to use those barriers and work tirelessly to address them and ultimately break down those barriers for students. In short, we've got huge goals for the upcoming year, the upcoming semester, and I look forward to working with our wonderful staff, faculty, and the board to accomplish these goals. Again, I'd like to thank you all for your welcome, and I look forward to working with my fellow board members to better Merced College and our community as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Gill. And if I could add one more thing to my report. Patrick would always talk about success stories, student success stories, and I kind of want to brag on one that's kind of personal and dear to my heart. My daughter graduated from Stanislaus State the same day that we had our college graduation here. But what's special about that is that she came to Merced College. She spent 3 years at Merced College, both the Los Angeles campus and the main campus. So because of our faculty here, they played a big part in her career. So she transferred on to Stanislaus, and I'm happy to say she graduated with her BA in kinesiology. So thank you, Merced College. One more year, hopefully she gets her credential, and I don't have to pay for her college no more. Thank you. President Vitelli?
It's a board president's privilege to give 2 reports, so he has the microphone. A couple things, trustees. One, in front of you is a laminated sheet on Robert's Rules of Order. And if you'll remember at our retreat, we went over some of these. I think our student trustee Gill has already demonstrated that she knows this quite well. So, the sheet is hopefully intended to help you along those lines. You can leave them on the dais, and they'll be there each time. And if they disappear, we'll try to find some more. I want to also welcome our new student trustee, Trustee Gill. Welcome, glad to have you. And welcome back, ASMC President Cody Camacho. We have worked together in the past, and I look forward to working with you again. Student government has made a huge difference on this campus in the last several years, and the sustainability challenge did not go unnoticed. And I give our student body president at the time, Cody and others, a lot of credibility for that. I want to mention a few of those. Because Trustee Gill said the word ambitious. I'm not sure if that even truly qualifies what ASMC is able to do, but we'll see in the next year, because Cody, I'm sure, has a very ambitious agenda. But ASMC has been remodeled. That was a part of one of the initiatives that was brought through President Camacho's tenure here. The Sustainability Challenge was issued and accepted by the trustees at the time. During that time, we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on energy efficiency on campus through Prop 39. We also have installed 9 water refill stations around campus and hope to do more of that and work closely with you all making that happen. We are moving towards an electronic catalog and no longer printing our printed catalog. And more than once, the students' sustainability challenges come up as a reason to do that. But also, we're in the process, and this isn't sustainability, but it's something ASMC initiated while Cody was president, that's covered bike racks, and that's coming as well. So those are just a few things that Cody championed while he was here. There's several others, but just glad to have you back and look forward to working with you this year. I will also echo that graduation was wonderful. It's always a good reminder as to why we're here and to watch students walk across that stage who have overcome more adversity than we'll ever know. And some of you have had the privilege of hearing some of the stories of our students and the barriers they overcome, and it's very rewarding to be a part of that process. There was also several ceremonies in the last month, more than I can count, and while we don't get a summer vacation, we do get a small break from the evening ceremonies, which are wonderful, but we had one almost every night, and it was great to see the successes. Upcoming is our convocation, which will kick off the year. We have an exciting convocation planned. I hope you will all be in attendance. I'll make sure you have the date. I'll make sure you have that, and I'll send it to you. But we have a renowned comedian coming in with a wonderful message, and we'll highlight some top-level things at convocation. We've reduced it from 3 hours to 2 hours, and it's really getting to setting the tone for the year. And instead of trying to give all the information in a 3-hour span, there's time to do that all day. So we're not taking away from giving information, but we're trying to make sure convocation really is what it should be, and that's to kick off our year. And then we're adding this year Convocation Carnival, and I've got a bit of a challenge for the trustees I'll mention in just a moment, but it is free to all of our employees and their families, and it will be out in the amphitheater area. We'll have bounce houses and water slides and kettle corn and barbecue sandwiches and snow cones and all kinds of different games. But what I'm trying to get to is we're also going to have a dunk machine, you know, an old school dunk machine, and I'm really hoping that we can sign you all up for a portion of that.
Are you going to do it, Chris?
I'll be in there, yes. I'll do it with you. We can get in together.
Is it a fundraiser?
So it will be somewhat of a fundraiser, but everybody will get at least one. The way the carnival is going to work is when you check in, everybody gets 5 tickets. And 1 ticket will be a different color. That will be to get the barbecue sandwich. The other 4 tickets for everybody there is to spend however they want. So if kids want to spend it on popcorn, they spend it on popcorn. If they want to spend it on doing the dunk machine 4 times, they do the dunk machine. Then they can buy more tickets if they'd like.
And who all can come to this?
All the employees
Just employees?
and their families,
And board and
their immediate
families.
families. Absolutely, yes, yes, yes. And so I hope that you guys will take us up on that challenge.
What about lawyers looking for new business? Drowned people, injured people from the bounce houses?
Yes, that would be a station. That would be a station.
That's right, Kim and I are like this,
Yes.
right? See liability everywhere.
I haven't run anything past the risk manager yet, so we're doing it. Figure it out for us, Paul. I also want to mention that we're in the process of looking at different ways that we can revise our educational master plan as well as our strategic plan. I've been talking to several experts in the field, and I'm excited about the plan to create the plans next year, and I think that we'll all have a good time really visioning where we're headed as a district. Along those lines, we will be reinstituting an enrollment management team headed by the Vice President of Instruction and representation of all constituencies on campus in all different areas to really focus on how we can create a sustainable and long-term enrollment management plan. And we'll look at all kinds of different ways to make that happen. We had a wonderful meeting today on facilities planning, and that is a top-of-mind issue this summer and going into the fall term, with the hopes that we can capture some of the statewide bonds that the governor is holding on to right now to build that Ag IT building finally. There was a request to do a one-time fund presentation, and we are going to do that, and we plan to present that at the August board meeting on how we've spent all of the one-time funds to date. We're thrilled to have 1,000 plus kids on campus over the summer. They're our future students, and invite you all to come out. If you'd like to walk around, I'll volunteer Dean Connor to provide a tour since she oversees that area. If you'd like to, it really is great to see, to go around and see some of the sports camps and the enrichment opportunities. So if you have not experience College for Kids, see Dean Connor after this board meeting, and we can get you set up. And we won't make you walk it. We'll put you on a golf cart. Unless Dr. McCandless is giving it. Yes. And then last but not least, I do want to mention two things. One, we have had campus forums. We've had 3 of them this semester. That's been well received. We'll continue to do that. When you can make it, please do so. But it's been an opportunity for not just for us to talk to the campus, but for us to hear from them as well, and for them to ask the questions that they would like answered. And so we plan to do at least 3 every semester. So in the fall, we'll do the same thing. And I do want to note, there were some concerns brought up at the beginning of the meeting regarding shared governance, and I understand the concerns that were brought up. But I don't want it to take away from the fact that shared governance is alive and well on this campus. That yes, there are times when we might disagree, and there are times when we might not have felt like it was handled perfectly, and we'll always seek to improve processes, and we'll listen. But I also want to recognize that tonight we had a couple issues that we all respectfully had dialogue about, and I think that is a huge improvement for our district. I commend everybody for that. And that really is the essence of shared governance. It's listening to each other, being involved, being at the table, and making sure voices are heard. It's not always shared decision making, but shared governance is truly making sure that all voices are heard. And you hear Trustee Lashbrook say that often. We actually got a commendation on our processes from our accreditation agency for the many ways that we're using our shared governance handbooks effectively on this campus. So I'm proud of that, but that doesn't mean we're perfect. And we'll just continue to work to make sure that we build on what we have and do better each time, and learn from our experiences. So that's my report.
President Kelly, could you just share briefly about the food forest? We talked about that a little bit earlier today.
Yes, and the 2 meetings ago, we approved the one-time funds to finish the food forest. We've had a grant the last couple of years. You'll get a full presentation when we're at the Los Banos meeting in October, because that'd be a perfect time to maybe even walk you through what we hope will be progress at the time. But Dean Latham has been working closely with the contractors and getting bids out. But we'll be moving dirt soon. When will that be?
A meeting with Charlie McElvaney of McElvaney Construction, who's offered to do the work. He suggested our timeline should be before the end of summer school. So
before the end of summer. There you go.
Yeah,
yes.
Right.
So we'll be moving dirt, and then the next process will be getting a contractor in place to do the bulk of the work during the fall term, which won't be disruptive to operations on the Los Banos campus. The goal by December is to have a food forest, and that's been a long time coming, and collaborative work by many, but the champion is sitting right there in the room, Dr. Latham, so thanks for all your work on that.
Fall is the best time to plant most plants in the Central Valley. So
That's meant to be.
November,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's kind of the goal. Awesome. Thank you. Yes?
May I just say that if all goes to plan, hopefully we'll be able to have trustees come in and potentially work on a planting while you're there, not plant the entire thing, but do some planting.
Although we're not opposed to that, right, Dean Latham? Yeah.
Well, that is one way to save money.
Yes, that's right.
On the project, if you were interested. But at our October meeting, we'll have more for you.
Okay, thank you, Brenda. All right. Item 13, future discussion items for board members. Any items on the board that we, yes, Jim?
I asked our president about the Tree Foundation, and was very happy with what I heard, but I'd like to see a presentation made in public so the public would know what's going on with the Tree Foundation, and also maybe we could get a little positive advertisement or whatever you want to call it, on what's going on from one of our 2 newspapers, and maybe both.
Great idea. We've been working with our in-house counsel. I had a conversation with them today. about setting up a MOU with them. I'm meeting with Jim Williams and Brian Tassi next Thursday, but nonetheless, what I'm trying to say is I think that would be a presentation for either later in the summer or early fall. Yeah, absolutely. So probably August or September.
I have
May I
a,
ask one other question real quick?
Go ahead, Jean.
July and August, are they regular meetings on the second Tuesday? Nothing's been changed, right?
Nothing's been changed, but the July board meeting is earlier in the day. I believe it's at 2 o'clock.
But it's on the second Tuesday.
That's correct.
future item, or I don't know if it takes the form of an item, but I did discuss this with President Vitelli, is I wanted to make sure that Merced College has a presence at significant community events like the Homecoming Parade, Veterans Parade, 4th of July Parade, because a lot of us who graduated from Merced College never really get a chance to cheer for our school because they're not parading down the street. We cheer for our high school. But it would be really nice for parents to be able to let their kids know that that's the college they graduated from, especially on events where we can honor some of our students in particular. For example, on Veterans Day, we could have our veteran students and maybe the Gallo family who made the donation to remodel the Veterans Center be part of that initial float. And so that we can continue to have a presence in the community and remind people of just the great things are at Merced College. And it's really about top of the mind awareness. And it might seem trivial, it's a parade float, and you're probably thinking that I want to be on the float and wave. And I do, but even more than that, I think it's a good way to make sure that we stay in the community. It's not an expensive way. I think it's a way that we can instill pride. So I talked to President Vitelli about that. He said there's already discussions about that. So yeah, I'd like to report back. Thank you.
We could probably get our ASMC students to take part of that parade, help build the float or something.
And have them do the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
He was shaking his head until you said it.
Okay, any other?
Yes.
Trustee Odell?
I got about 20 on my list.
All right.
Three is fine.
We got till 11, we're good.
That's good, then I'm really 25 now. The first one on the list is we can go back to the farm management plan.
Can't hear you.
You got your mic on?
I got my mic on. If we can bring back the farm manager position?
So you want that as a discussion item to discuss?
Yes.
Okay.
Future.
Okay.
And bring back, well, we never brought it back, I have asked before, solar farm here on campus. Not only here on this campus, but also the Los Banos campus.
Okay.
We could generate a lot of savings with our PG&E. And the third one is we still need of a lot strength. We've discussed this before, and we have a lead mechanic that's been getting stipends for years and years. And I think it's time that we either create a position for a locksmith or add that to his job description.
So what we haven't been doing is making sure the board wants to discuss some of these items. So we probably need to go back to the beginning. Tree Partners Foundation, do we have at least 3 trustees per your policy? I want to hear that. Okay. Presence at community events, just a discussion item or report from a staff report. Yeah. Okay. So then you have 2 position pieces. You know, we can certainly discuss those. I want us to be careful not getting too involved in the operations. These are operational issues, and at your retreat, you had discussed, you know, trying to be careful finding that balance. So, you know, I defer to you all. We can certainly put it on there as a discussion item. So, is that something you guys? Okay.
Would that include finding the funding or having or checking into the finances or financing that position?
Yeah, I can give an update on why it's frozen and why we can't fund it at the moment, but we can save that for discussion at the board meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, we can add it as a discussion. And then the discussion item on the locksmith, Is there is there three of you who want to hear that as an item?
There's locksmith or blacksmith?
Locksmith.
Okay.
Yeah.
So having that as a permanent position?
Would it save money? Would it save money?
Well, we can you guys need to decide if you, I don't want you to discuss it here, because then you'd be violating the Brown Act, but the question is, do you want to discuss it at a meeting? We can always agendize it, okay? And then the solar farm? Okay, okay. So we'll work as a reminder, Trustee Gutierrez and I sometimes have to spread these things out among different meetings. They don't all make the exact same meeting, but we'll put these in the queue for future meetings.
And I also have another topic. I don't know if it'd be at the next board meeting or it's something we can just discuss. There's two big issues that I've been focusing on at the LD campus, and one was the food forest, and the other is the a safe walking bike path, or walking path from the town to the college. And so I know that we talked about this, President Vitale, about trying to put together a presentation that we can take to MCAG, to the board supervisors, and at least get the ball rolling and try to get some funding to get that in place. So,
Do you want that as a discussion item?
can we put it as a discussion item for the next agenda? Or
Do you guys have
do I have
three?
two other folks that?
Okay, got it.
Any other items for, any suggestions for other items? All right. I think that's a lot of topics to talk about. All right, there's no second closed session. So I get to use my little hammer, so it is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
8:20.